Ladies and gentlemen, there is a quiet storm that brews in the hearts of mankind, a storm that questions loyalty, character, and intention. And among these storms, there's a chilling reality that many people refuse to confront: the mark of deception, the shadow of manipulation, and the aura of destruction that comes in the form of a person. I want to talk to you about the kind of individual that seems harmless on the surface, but is, in fact, the architect of chaos, a woman whose purpose, it seems, is to dismantle all that is good, pure, and sacred. Master of deception, what a fitting phrase for someone who thrives on manipulation and the distortion of reality. Imagine a person so skilled at lying that their words weave an alternate version of the world, one that suits their needs and ambitions. It's not just about telling a lie here and there, it's about living a lie, embodying deceit so fully that it becomes second nature. For her, the truth is merely a tool, something she bends and twists until it's unrecognizable. The goal isn't to be believed out of honesty, it's to control the narrative, to make you doubt everything else so that her version of events is the only one you cling to. Her lies aren't random or aimless, they're calculated, each one carefully designed to achieve a specific outcome. If she wants to create division, she will fabricate stories that pit people against each other. If she seeks to gain sympathy, she'll spin tales of hardship and injustice, painting herself as the perpetual victim. And if she desires power or influence, she'll construct an image of herself as someone trustworthy and noble, someone you can rely on. But underneath that polished facade lies the heart of a manipulator, someone who isn't concerned with the well-being of others, but with her own agenda. What makes her so dangerous isn't just the lies she tells, but how convincingly she tells them. Her delivery is flawless, her tone sincere, her emotions perfectly aligned with the story she's spinning. Even when the facts contradict her words, she finds ways to cast doubt on the evidence. She's a master at turning the tables, making you feel as though you're the one who's mistaken, the one who's overreacting, or the one who's being unfair. This psychological warfare is her greatest weapon because it doesn't just distort your perception of her, it distorts your perception of reality itself. And then there's the fallout, the chaos she leaves in her wake. Relationships crumble, trust is eroded, and people are left questioning everything they thought they knew. But she doesn't stop to look back at the destruction. No, she moves on to the next target, the next opportunity to manipulate, leaving behind only the shattered pieces for others to pick up. Her lies aren't just words, they're seeds of discord planted strategically to grow into full-blown crises. And the more you engage with her, the more tangled you become in her web of deceit. The key to overcoming someone like this is not to try to outsmart her or to confront her lies directly. That's the trap she sets. The key is to recognize her patterns, to see her for what she truly is, and to remove yourself from her influence. The truth, no matter how obscure it may seem, has a way of revealing itself in time. But you must protect yourself in the meantime. Don't let her lies take root in your mind or your heart. Stand firm in your values, trust in what you know to be true, and refuse to let her distort your sense of self or your relationships with others. Deception is her art, her craft, and her weapon of choice. But no matter how skilled she may be, her power is limited by your awareness. When you see through her lies, when you refuse to play along, you strip her of the control she so desperately craves. And in doing so, you reclaim your peace, your clarity, and your strength. Betrayal and manipulation are two sides of the same coin. The person who employs these tactics isn't just looking to deceive or take advantage of a situation. They're willing to exploit the trust, emotions, and vulnerabilities of others for their own gain. It's a dark and painful path they walk, and it's often cloaked in the disguise of concern or affection. In her world, people are not seen as individuals with their own rights and dignity. They are tools, pawns, or stepping stones to achieve her selfish desires. At first, she may appear kind and caring, eager to listen to your problems, to offer comfort and reassurance when you feel lost. But that kindness is not rooted in genuine care. No, it's a means to an end, a strategy to draw you in so she can access your emotions and trust. The more vulnerable she can make you feel, the more power she gains. When you're emotional, when you're hurt, or when you're unsure of yourself, she steps in like a savior. She's always there ready with advice or sympathy, but only because she knows how to manipulate your feelings to her advantage. This is the heart of betrayal. She knows your weaknesses, your hopes, your fears, and she uses them against you. If she needs to get what she wants, she'll manipulate your emotions, twist your vulnerabilities, and make you feel indebted to her. She may even create crises or situations where you feel obligated to her, playing on your guilt or desire to help, but at no point does she have any real interest in your well-being. Your trust is not a gift, it's a resource, and the more she can extract from it, the better. Manipulation doesn't stop with words, it's about actions too. She may set up situations where you feel compelled to act in ways that benefit her, while she remains untouched by the consequences of your decisions. She may use guilt or fear as weapons, pressuring you to make choices that serve her desires, all while painting herself as the victim. You may end up making sacrifices, giving up time, energy, or resources, things that should be reserved for your growth and well-being, while she walks away with everything, leaving you feeling empty and drained. And the betrayal doesn't end when she gets what she wants. In fact, it often escalates. After using you, she'll discard you like an old tool. Once her purpose for you is fulfilled, she'll move on to the next person, leaving behind only the remnants of your trust, your emotional energy, and your sense of self-worth. By the time you realize what has happened, she's long gone, and you're left with the painful knowledge that you were used, manipulated, and betrayed. The hardest part of this kind of betrayal is the emotional toll it takes. Trust is one of the most precious things we give to others, and when it's broken in such a brutal and calculated way, it can be hard to rebuild. But here's the truth: you don't have to carry the weight of her manipulation forever. The power to heal, to rebuild your trust in others, and to reclaim your peace is in your hands. You have to recognize that her betrayal was never about you. It was about her need to control and manipulate others for her own selfish gain. And once you see that, you can break free from the emotional trap she set for you. Recognize the signs of manipulation and betrayal early so that you can protect yourself from further harm. Trust in your own instincts and in the people who genuinely have your best interests at heart. Don't let someone like this convince you that you're weak or unworthy. You are not the problem, she is. And when you realize that, you will take back your power and ensure that no one else can exploit your emotions or your trust again. Jealousy and hatred are powerful emotions, ones that can consume a person and distort their view of the world. For someone driven by these feelings, the success and happiness of others are not sources of inspiration or motivation, they are threats. These emotions stem from a deep insecurity and a distorted sense of self-worth. When someone with this mindset sees others succeed, it doesn't spark admiration or the desire to strive for their own improvement. Instead, it ignites resentment, a burning desire to tear down what has been built. They cannot tolerate seeing others rise because in their mind, any success or happiness that others experience is a direct challenge to their own worth and existence. The root of this jealousy isn't about the other person, it's about an internal void that cannot be filled. Their hatred isn't simply a reaction to someone else's success, but a reflection of their own deep dissatisfaction. It's not enough for them to see others happy or thriving. They feel compelled to destroy that happiness. They believe that if they can bring someone down, they will feel elevated, even if just for a moment. But this is an illusion. The more they harbor jealousy and hatred, the more they deepen their own misery, as these emotions are toxic, eroding their own peace of mind. Rather than focusing on their own growth, they focus on comparing themselves to others. Every achievement or joy that others experience becomes a personal slight, a reminder of their perceived inadequacy. They may start to resent the people around them, seeking to undermine their success in any way possible. Whether through subtle insults, backhanded compliments, or even more overt forms of sabotage, they will work to harm others because, in their mind, others' success is a threat to their own fragile sense of self. This is the destructive power of jealousy and hatred. And what's worse is the way it isolates them. These feelings left unchecked create a barrier between them and the rest of the world. They can no longer celebrate the successes of others because they become so consumed by their own negative emotions. In trying to harm others, they only harm themselves. Friendships, relationships, and opportunities are lost because people begin to see through the jealousy and hatred. Others don't want to be around someone who is constantly tearing others down or trying to diminish their joy. The saddest part of this dynamic is that the jealous and hateful person will never achieve true peace or fulfillment. The constant need to bring others down in order to lift themselves up is a never-ending cycle that leads nowhere. No matter how much they succeed in causing harm or misery, they'll never feel the satisfaction they're seeking because it's not about the other person, it's about their own internal struggle. They may think that if they can just get rid of what they perceive as the source of their jealousy, they will be happy. But the truth is that true happiness comes from within, not from dragging others down. The key to breaking free from this destructive mindset is realizing that there is room for everyone to succeed and be happy. The success of others does not diminish your own worth. In fact, it can be a source of inspiration. When you stop focusing on competing with others and start focusing on your own growth, that is when true fulfillment begins. Let go of the jealousy and hatred that only weigh you down. Learn to celebrate the success of others, and in doing so, you'll free yourself from the chains that have kept you in a state of constant discontent. Creating division is one of the most destructive tactics employed by those who seek power and control over others. For someone with this mindset, relationships, whether familial, friendships, or professional, are not about connection, support, or trust. They are merely tools to manipulate, break down, and reassemble according to their own desires. By sowing discord and causing rifts between people, they ensure that those relationships are weakened, leaving people vulnerable and more easily influenced. This person thrives on conflict. They understand that when people are divided, they are easier to control. They exploit weaknesses in relationships, using them as leverage to achieve their goals. Whether it's by spreading lies, creating misunderstandings, or simply fueling pre-existing tensions, their mission is to turn friends against each other, families into enemies, and colleagues into enemies, and colleagues into rivals. The more fractured the bonds between people are, the more power they hold. They become the central figure in the chaos, the one who manipulates from the shadows, all the while playing the role of a concerned outsider, feigning innocence. What makes this strategy so effective is the subtlety with which it is carried out. At first glance, they might appear to be just an observer or a well-meaning mediator, but underneath the surface, they are planting seeds of doubt, distrust, and suspicion. They might say things like, "Did you hear what she said about you?" or "I'm just worried about how he's been treating you," as small, seemingly harmless comments, but over time, they erode the foundation of relationships. These statements don't need to be direct lies, they simply need to cause enough confusion and tension that people start questioning each other. And as the division grows, so does their influence. They feed off the turmoil, positioning themselves as the only one who understands the situation or has a solution. They might step in as the mediator, offering advice that serves their own agenda. As the conflict intensifies, they subtly encourage people to make decisions that benefit them, pushing others further apart while ensuring that their own position remains unchallenged. The damage caused by division is often invisible at first. What starts as a small disagreement or a simple misunderstanding gradually escalates into open hostility. Trust begins to break down, and the once harmonious relationships disintegrate. Friends start avoiding one another, families no longer communicate, and work teams become fragmented. By the time the damage is evident, it's often too late to undo the harm. The fabric of the relationship has been torn, and the people involved are left wondering how everything went wrong. This pattern of division can be emotionally devastating. The people involved don't just lose trust in each other, they begin to lose trust in themselves. The constant confusion and emotional turmoil can leave them questioning their own perceptions and judgment. The manipulator has created an environment where no one knows who to trust anymore, and that confusion serves to further isolate them. With everyone at odds, the manipulator sits in the background, watching as the people they've torn apart struggle to find a way back to unity. The key to overcoming this destructive force is to recognize the signs of manipulation early on. Trust is the antidote to division. The more people communicate openly, the less room there is for deception to thrive. Strong relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and a willingness to confront misunderstandings head-on rather than letting them fester. When you see someone sowing division, it's important to speak up, to address the issues directly, and to work together to rebuild the trust that has been damaged. By doing so, You cut the manipulator off from their source of power and prevent further harm from being done. Malicious intentions and schemes are the dark core of an individual who seeks to harm others for their own personal gain. This kind of person operates from a place of deep selfishness, where the suffering of others is not just collateral damage, but the primary goal. The idea of benefiting at the expense of someone else is not a mistake or a coincidence for her. It is the very essence of her plan. She designs her actions carefully, thinking not only of how she can advance her own position, but of how she can do so at the expense of those who stand in her way. Every move is calculated to ensure that the harm caused to others directly benefits her, even if it means using manipulation, deceit, or sabotage. Her schemes are often veiled in a facade of kindness or innocence. On the surface, she may appear to be helpful, a friend, or even a supporter, all the while planning in the shadows. Behind her smiles and words of encouragement lies a mind constantly scheming to get what she wants. Her actions may seem innocent enough at first, a favor, a kind word, a bit of advice, but beneath that lies a plot to manipulate or deceive. She may begin by making small requests or using subtle tactics to plant ideas in others' minds, slowly steering situations to her advantage. The goal is always the same: to gain something for herself by creating situations where others lose. The maliciousness in her schemes is rooted in a disregard for the well-being of others. She doesn't care who she hurts, as long as she achieves her objective. She might undermine someone's reputation by spreading rumors or lies. She could steal credit for another's work or subtly sow discord among people who might otherwise work together. If someone has something that she wants, whether it's a job, a relationship, or a position of influence, she will find a way to take it, even if it means causing harm along the way. She's adept at disguising her true intentions, playing the role of a victim, a friend, or a bystander, while setting up the perfect situation to get ahead at another person's expense. One of the most destructive aspects of her schemes is how deeply she understands the human psyche. She knows how to exploit people's weaknesses, whether it's their need for approval, their fears, or their desires. She'll use these vulnerabilities to her advantage, knowing that people will often act out of emotion or personal attachment rather than logic. Her ability to manipulate these emotions makes her a dangerous adversary, because she doesn't just attack with brute force, she attacks by exploiting what people care about the most. Her actions aren't limited to just one person or one situation. She operates across multiple levels, plotting against anyone who stands in the way of her goals. It could be a coworker she feels is getting too much attention, a friend she's envious of, or a family member she sees as a threat. She doesn't care who she harms in the process. Her only concern is what she stands to gain. This kind of person thrives in chaos, as it gives her the opportunity to exploit confusion and uncertainty. She may set traps that lead others to make mistakes or cause rifts that people struggle to repair. While others are left picking up the pieces of their broken relationships or careers, she quietly moves into position, reaping the rewards of the destruction she has caused. The damage she leaves in her wake isn't just external, it's internal as well. The people she targets are often left questioning their own worth, their judgment, and their trust in others. The maliciousness she sows tears apart the fabric of relationships and can leave emotional scars that last for years. However, the true harm isn't just the damage to others, it's the person who carries out these schemes. The emptiness that fuels this kind of behavior eats away at the soul, because the pursuit of gain through others' pain can never lead to true satisfaction or happiness. Recognizing the signs of someone with malicious intentions is crucial. Trust your instincts when something doesn't feel right. People like this thrive on secrecy and manipulation, so keeping an open line of communication with those around you is essential. Protecting yourself from someone with malicious intentions requires strength, awareness, and the courage to confront deceit before it can take root. By standing firm and not allowing them to manipulate you, you take away their power to cause harm. Controlling behavior is a method of domination that operates through emotional and mental tactics designed to overpower the will and autonomy of others. This person doesn't wield physical power or force, but instead relies on manipulation, guilt, or even blackmail to maintain control over those around them. Their goal is not just to influence others, but to strip away their independence, making them dependent on the manipulator for approval, direction, or validation. They work in subtle ways, using emotional leverage to get what they want, while making the other person feel as though they have no choice but to comply. Emotional manipulation is one of the most common tools in a controlling person's arsenal. They may start by identifying a person's vulnerabilities, what they fear, what they desire, or what they value most, and then use that knowledge against them. This could manifest in the form of guilt tripping, where the manipulator makes the other person feel responsible for their happiness or well-being, regardless of whether it's true. They may say things like, "After all I've done for you, this is how you repay me." Or, "If you really cared about me, you would do this." These statements are designed to put the other person on the defensive, questioning their own decisions and forcing them into a position where they feel they must act out of obligation rather than their own free will. Another common tactic is gaslighting, a form of psychological manipulation where the manipulator twists facts or events to make the victim doubt their own perception of reality. A controlling person will deny things they've said or done, making their target question their own memory and judgment. This creates confusion and insecurity, weakening the victim's sense of self and making them more reliant on the manipulator for guidance and reassurance. Blackmail is a more extreme form of control, but it can be just as devastating. The manipulator may exploit private or sensitive information, using it as leverage to get what they want. They might threaten to expose someone's secrets, ruin their reputation, or cause harm to their loved ones unless they comply with the manipulator's demands. This form of control creates fear, and the person being blackmailed feels trapped, with no way out except to give in to the manipulator's will. What makes controlling behavior so harmful is the insidious nature of it. The manipulator doesn't always use overt threats or violence. Instead, they prey on the victim's emotions, using their love, loyalty, or fear to twist their actions. The victim may start to feel as though they are losing their sense of self, that they cannot trust their own decisions, or that they are incapable of standing up for themselves. Over time, this can lead to deep emotional and mental harm, as the victim becomes more and more dependent on the manipulator for validation, support, or even their sense of reality. For the person on the receiving end of this behavior, it's often difficult to recognize that they are being manipulated. The manipulator may present themselves as caring, as someone who only wants the best for them, making it hard to see the underlying control tactics. The victim may begin to believe that the manipulator's demands are reasonable or that their actions are justified because they are disguised as love, concern, or guidance. However, the damage caused by controlling behavior is profound. It erodes a person's confidence, undermines their self-worth, and makes them question their ability to make choices independently. So relationships built on manipulation and control are not healthy. They create power imbalances, where one person holds all the power while the other is left feeling helpless and trapped. Breaking free from such a toxic dynamic requires awareness and strength. The first step is recognizing that manipulation and control are not signs of love or care, they are signs of abuse. It's important to trust your instincts and understand that you have the right to make decisions for yourself without fear or guilt. Setting boundaries and seeking support from trusted friends, family, or professionals can help you regain control of your life and restore your sense of independence. Weakening faith is a form of manipulation that targets the core of a person's belief system, seeking to erode their spiritual convictions and lead them away from their path. This type of behavior is often disguised as well-meaning advice, but its true intention is to undermine a person's trust in their own faith and the principles they hold dear. It can be particularly destructive because it affects not only a person's sense of purpose and identity, but also their connection to something greater than themselves. When someone sets out to weaken another's faith, they aren't simply challenging their beliefs, they're attempting to break the foundation upon which that individual has built their life. The manipulator in this case may use a variety of tactics to create doubt. They might question the validity of spiritual texts, bring up contradictions, or focus on the failings of religious institutions or leaders. By emphasizing imperfections in the world or the inconsistencies in human behavior, they attempt to sow seeds of doubt in the believer's mind. Instead of focusing on the deeper truths that faith provides, they pull attention towards superficial flaws or negative aspects, slowly eroding the trust in something greater. This constant questioning is not designed to encourage thoughtful reflection. It's meant to destabilize the individual's confidence in their own belief system and to make them question their purpose in life. Another tactic used by those who seek to weaken faith is to present themselves as more knowledgeable or enlightened. They may claim to have discovered new truths or alternative explanations, presenting their views as the real way of seeing the world. They might pressure the individual to abandon their beliefs and adopt a more modern or scientific perspective, implying that those who maintain their spiritual beliefs are naive or uninformed. This can create a deep inner conflict in the person being targeted, as they begin to wonder if they are missing something or if their faith is simply outdated. The manipulator might also exploit emotional vulnerabilities such as grief, loss, or confusion to lead someone away from their faith. In times of emotional distress, when a person is seeking answers or comfort, the manipulator may offer what appears to be a more logical or comforting explanation that aligns with their own agenda. This approach feeds on the emotional state of the individual, providing immediate relief in exchange for a long-term weakening of their beliefs. The true danger of someone who seeks to weaken faith lies in their ability to prey on the most personal and intimate aspects of another's life. Faith is often tied to a person's values, sense of hope, and identity. To challenge someone's spiritual beliefs is to challenge the very essence of who they are. When this manipulation is successful, it can lead to confusion, spiritual crisis, and a sense of disorientation. Individuals may feel lost, unsure of their direction, and disconnected from their sense of purpose. This form of manipulation is particularly harmful because it attacks a person at their most vulnerable during times when they are seeking comfort, understanding, or peace. It exploits their need for stability and guidance, replacing it with doubt and uncertainty. Those who are vulnerable in their faith may find it especially difficult to recognize when they are being led astray because their emotional and spiritual needs make them more susceptible to persuasive arguments that promise relief or clarity. To counteract this, it's important to strengthen one's own spiritual foundations. Building a relationship with one's faith that is rooted in personal experience and conviction makes it much harder for others to sway or weaken that belief. When you are confident in the truths that resonate with you spiritually, you can better recognize attempts to undermine those beliefs and protect your faith from being manipulated. It's also crucial to seek out supportive communities or mentors who can help you stay grounded in your spiritual path, especially during times of doubt or uncertainty. Recognizing when someone is attempting to weaken your faith requires self-awareness and trust in your own inner convictions. Understand that questioning your beliefs is a natural part of spiritual growth, but there is a difference between healthy reflection and manipulation. Surround yourself with individuals who support your spiritual growth and can help you navigate challenges without leading you astray. At the end of the day, your faith should empower you, not weaken you, and no one should have the power to strip that away unless you allow them to. In conclusion, the marks of an evil woman sent by the devil are not always immediately visible. They appear in subtle, manipulative behaviors designed to weaken, control, and destroy the lives of those around her. From the art of deception, betrayal, and jealousy to creating division, malicious schemes, and controlling tactics, her actions are calculated to leave others feeling vulnerable, powerless, and disconnected from their own truth. The most dangerous aspect of these individuals is their ability to target the deepest, most sacred parts of a person's life, faith, trust, and emotional security, and use them against them. But it is crucial to remember that awareness is power. Recognizing these tactics for what they are is the first step in defending oneself from such harmful influence. Faith in your own beliefs, confidence in your worth, and a strong sense of self are the shields that protect you from those who seek to manipulate, control, and destroy. You must stay grounded in your truth, seek support from those who uplift you, and never allow anyone to twist your reality for their own gain. In the end, remember that you are not powerless. The strength to resist, to stand firm, and to protect your heart and soul lies within you. By understanding the nature of such individuals and guarding your spirit against their tactics, you ensure that their schemes will not succeed. Stand strong in your beliefs, in your love, and in your conviction, because nothing is more powerful than a person who knows their worth and refuses to be led astray.